Hey Vegas, I'm Emily Connor Cooper, and welcome to Legends and Laughs, where laughter is always on the menu and the stories are bigger than life itself.
Now, I know a thing or two about show business. You could say it's in my blood. I was born and raised in Texas, found my way to New York City to study at NYU, and I landed a job as a producer with CBS, NBC, and Broadway. And well, life became a lot more interesting when I met Pat Cooper at the Friars Club. From the hustle and bustle of New York City to the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas, I've had the privilege of being surrounded by some of the funniest and most talented people in the world. And today, you'll hear from people who knew Pat, who Pat knew, and in ways you won't hear anywhere else.
So sit back and relax and get ready to hear some stories that'll make you laugh, cry, and maybe even scratch your head a little. This is Legends and Laughs, where the humor never stops and the legends never fade. Welcome to Legends and Laughs. I'm Emily Connor Cooper, and today my guest is the legendary boxing Hall of Famer and host of the Joe Cortez Show, Mr. Joe Cortez. Joe, hi. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here with you. And I was looking forward to being on your show. I mean, it's something very, very special that you have going on right now.
Well, no, I appreciate that. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I've actually been on your show 3 times, I think, already, which is always a lot of fun. You've lived here in Vegas now since 92, was that right?
34 years.
Yes, and you have quite an impressive career in boxing. So you began tell us about your career a little bit. You began in the 70s, is that right, as a referee?
As a referee, but let's go a little before that, how I got into boxing. There was a fighter by the name of Gaspar Adrian Ortega who moved to my neighborhood back in Manhattan back in 1955. I was 12 years old when I met him, and that's how it all started. Gaspar Ortega can't be out of the streets, out of gangs, out of drugs. He said, you got to get involved with something. So you got to be involved with boxing. I would just go and follow him to the gym. I was his interpreter. And little by little, my brother got involved with boxing first. Then I got involved in 1959. And in 59, I started working out. In 1960, I won my first New York Golden Glove Championship, novice championship. And my brother won the featherweight championship that night as well. But there were 15,000 fans in Madison Square Garden that night. And it was such an honor for me to be fighting in Madison Square Garden. Because I used to go there as a kid to watch Gaspar Ortega, fight. And Gaspar Ortega fought some of the big fighters like Carmen Basilio, Kid Gavilan, just to name a few of the big ones, Emil Griffin for the title. So anyway, Gaspar Ortega got me started. Then in the following year, after I won also the Spanish Golden Glove Championship in 1960, in 1961, my brother back and I, again, reached the final, and we both won the championship again, the Open Division. And from there, we fought in the Open Championship, took the title. Then 2 weeks later, we had a fight for the Eastern Golden Glove Championships. And that was the big year for me because the Eastern Golden Glove Championship, each fighter, they were no palookas. These guys were real good fighters. They were champions from their respective state. And my brother Mike and I had a fight that night, and we got the semifinals and finals, and I won by knockout in the semifinals that night. My brother won his first fight, semifinal, by knockout. Then I went up the second time, and I won by knockout again. And the people have been looking to see the record books who's knocked out 2 guys the same night in Madison Square Garden. They can't find no one who's ever did that before.
Wow.
And we have been on the greatest fighters fighting in Madison Square Garden, like Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano, Emil Griffin, you name it, Joe Louis, all the great ones have fought. Muhammad Ali, all fought in that ring. But nobody's knocked out 2 guys the same night. So
wow.
I have the honor of carrying that title.
So you were quite an accomplished fighter then before you started refereeing.
Exactly. Then from there, we went to the National Golden Glove Championship in Chicago. Chicago Stadium, my brother Mike and I both took the National Golden Gloves. I was the youngest on both teams. I was the youngest, 17 years old, winning that national championship. Then when I was 18, they convinced me to turn pro. I said, hey, Judge, pro, I just started boxing. I said, no, you got enough skills. I want you to turn you pro. By then already I had won 6 Golden Glove championships. So I turned pro, and I lost my 5th pro fight. It was my first fight I ever lost, and the pro was out with number 5. And I got so upset, I joined the U.S. Army. I went into the Army, and I said, well, I'm going to see if I can keep myself active in here, just work out or whatever. Because I went down to Fort Hood, Texas to do my advanced infantry training after my regular training, my basic training was in Fort Dix, New Jersey. So they had me down in Fort Hood, Texas. I went there, the lieutenant comes up to me and said, Mr. Cortez, hey, you're really good, but I check your record, you're already a professional fighter. You can't be on the team. But there's only amateurs here. I said, no, I'm just looking to work out. So I said, Joe, you know what? You can work out all you want, but you can't fight on the team, you know that. They said, but you know what, we can do something with you. We're going to ask you to be a coach. You want to be a coach on the team? So they made me a coach. I was a coach in the Army in Fort Hood, Texas, there for 2 years. When I got out, that's when I ended up getting married when I was 21 years of age. And then somebody came up to me when I was working down some hotels down in Puerto Rico, and a gentleman by the name of Pat Masher, he said, Joe, I said, yeah, I used to referee your fight. Your brother used to referee you guys. He was the guest at the hotel. We ran into each other. He said, I used to referee your fights in New York, Joe. He says, when you coming to New York? I said, well, we're moving back next year, which was December 76. Okay, when you get back, give me a call. So I called him up. I said, Pat, I'm back in New York. He said, Joe, let's go out for lunch. He said, Joe, I was thinking about you. He said, how about you going as a referee, become a referee? I said, well, I never thought about becoming a referee. He said, well, let's start you with the amateur, the Police Athletic League, then the Golden Glove Tournament. And then I said, I did 6 months in the amateurs. I got a call from the New York State Athletic Commission. They said, Joe, we were watching you last week fighting the fights, doing refereeing the championship fights, the Golden Gloves, and you got good skills. We want to turn you pro. I said, I've only been doing it 6 months. They said, no, Joe, they told me 3 to 6 years to be in the amateurs. I said, no, don't waste your time in the amateurs, Joe. You're going to turn you pro now. I said, am I going to get any work? He said, I promise you, you work every 4 rounders and 6 rounders to get you started. So I did that for about a year and a half. I was working. And so, I got my first main event on NBC Wide World Sports. I did my first 10-round fight on TV a year and a half later. And then 5 years into the game, I'm doing my first world title fight.
Wow.
And that was my dream, to do at least one world title fight. And that was Aaron Pryor, Big M&T in Atlantic City in 1982. And from then on, everything just spiraled into my great career that I had.
Wow. And so you did actually referee for some of the biggest fighters too, right?
I refereed Roberto Duran on 3 occasions, Floyd Mayweather 3 occasions, Manny Pacquiao 3 times, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Larry Holmes, Lennox Lewis, Joe Calzaghe. Yeah, I can go on, Manny Pacquiao. I have so many fighters that I refereed. It was just a great career. I mean, when I retired in 2012, I retired with 176 World Championship fights.
Wow.
And over 1,000 professional fights as a referee.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've been in quite a few movies too, correct?
I created some movies. The last one was the Rocky Balboa movie. And I was at a fight one night, doing a fight, getting ready to go to the ring. I got a tap on the shoulder. I look around. It was Sylvester Stallone sitting with Sugar Ray Leonard. He said, Joe, I'm doing a movie. I want you to be my referee, Rocky Balboa. You're going to be the referee. I said, okay. He said, give me information, because I'm ready to go to the ring to do a championship fight that night. I gave my information. 2 weeks later, I got a call from the MGM studios telling me Joe said he will send you a script and whatnot to be a referee to Rocky Balboa movie. And I did that. It took 6 days. We filmed that here in Las Vegas.
That's fun.
Anyway.
You also came up with a catchphrase that really stuck, right? That you used before the fights, is that
Yes.
right?
Yeah, one day I was doing an interview like we're doing right now. Then I watched the interview later on, and it says, Joe, what does it take to be a good referee? And my answer to the gentleman that was interviewing me, I said, well, to be a good referee, you have to be fair with the fighter. By the same token, you got to be firm, to take control. You got to be fair but firm. Then when I saw the TV, I said, fair but firm. I'm going to try. I'm going to use fair but firm. I went there, I said, Mills Lane got his own catchphrase. His was, let's get it on. Mills Lane should say that. I thought I'd come up with my own. I'm fair, but I'm firm.
Wow.
And Sylvester Stallone said, Joe, you got to use that part of the movie, which I did.
You were the referee for the George Foreman fight too when he was 45.
I refereed George
that.
Foreman on 4 occasions. The first one was up in Reno when he fought Jerry Cosilla. And then I did him against when he knocked out Jerry Cooney in Atlantic City. And then they had me doing the Michael Moore fight. I was here in Las Vegas at the MGM Hotel, where he knocked out Michael Moore in the 10th round. He was losing every round, George Foreman. Every round, the 9th round was over. I kept going to the corner, making sure he was okay. the 10th round, he came out there and hit Michael Ball with a short right hand punch. Michael Ball went down his back. I started counting 5, 6, 7. I said, it's about so this fucker ain't getting up. 8, 9, 10, he was out. And he got, and I looked at Foreman, he dropped out on his knees and looked up to God like, thank God, I'm champion again at the age of 45. That was a punch heard around the world. You know, it was an honor, refereeing George Foreman. Then I refereed his next fight where he defended his title against Axel Schultz, a German fighter. And it was a great experience for me refereeing those fights. It was an honor, and may he rest in peace. He was one of the great ones.
Yes.
Yeah, I never got to referee Muhammad Ali. That's the only fight I wish I would have been able to referee. But when I started out as a referee, Muhammad Ali was retiring, so I never had that honor. But I got to referee his daughter twice,
Oh, wow.
Layla Ali.
And then there was the Conor McGregor fight where you prepped him. Is that correct for boxing?
Yeah, I got a call one day from some gentleman. I forgot his name, but he called me and said, Joe, I'm calling you because Conor McGregor wants you to train him on the rules on boxing. He doesn't know boxing, and he's fighting Floyd Mayweather. And I said, yeah, I heard he's fighting Floyd Mayweather, but he wants you to train him. I said, but to what capacity? They said, well, he's in the ring sparring. They want you in the ring with him, moving around. As a referee, you can correct him if he does something wrong. So I said, how long you want me to train him? They said, well, 5 weeks. I had it for 5 weeks, preparing him for the Floyd Mayweather fight. And he did okay. He defended himself for 10 rounds. He did okay. He didn't get hurt really bad. He was more fatigued than anything else. But, he made a cool $100 million. I said, wow, that was pretty good. He's a good promoter. He promoted himself real good. He did a good job.
Nice. I remember that fight in 2017, right? I remember Pat and I watched that from New York.
Yeah,
It was exciting.
yeah, he did okay. People, like I said, people can't complain. They said, no, it was a fix. It was no fix. He fought his butt off. He tried his best. For 10 rounds, but he could go the distance. MMA is different than boxing. Boxing, the conditioning, you go for 10 rounds, like nonstop. You got to be moving, throwing punches for 3 minutes. MMA, those fights 25 rounds, and then you lay down, you hold each other, and not constantly throwing punches like boxing. Boxing is one of the toughest sport out there, and you don't play boxing. Boxing, you're in the hurt business.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have been inducted to quite a few halls of fame, correct? Including the International Boxing Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And you're not finished, from what I understand.
Not too big. That's why we get this ring, the International Boxing Hall of
That's nice.
Fame. I got inducted with Mike Tyson, with Julio Cesar Chavez, Sylvester Stallone, Kazu Zhu, and Nacho Barresi. 6 of us got inducted that day in 2011 in Canastota, New York. It was an honor for me. I couldn't believe I'd be inducted to Hall of Fame. But I was already inducted to the New Jersey Hall of Fame, and that was my second one. Then I got inducted to the National Boxing Hall of Fame, then the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame, and most recently, in December of last year, 2024, I got inducted to the Texas Hall of Fame. And now September 28th of this year, they got me getting inducted again to Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. That'll be number 6.
Wow.
Man, it's all like a dream.
It's amazing.
I can't believe it.
And I understand that there's a new film coming up that you're going to be in.
Yeah, they're doing a film of a fighter that's from California who's an MMA fighter, and he's fighting Shane Mosley, a former 3-time lightweight, welterweight champion. He's going to come out of retirement to do that movie with him because they want me to come out of retirement to referee that fight. And it's going to be in London, I think in July 19th, I believe it is.
Wow. So you're still busy and you're still doing a lot.
Yeah, for an old man, I still got a little spark of the old flash.
You're not old yet. But you have a great little show. How long have you been doing your Joe Cortez show?
Oh, I've had my show. I had it before it was Faber Firm. Then I changed it to the Joe Cortez show. I've been doing it for about 10 years now.
Yeah, and your co-host is Shelley Stevens, who I love dearly.
Shelley Stevens back home. Yeah, her and her husband perform. Their name is twice as nice, and they perform. Wesley was to play with he sang with the Commodores and the Stylistics, and Shelley, when they met each other, maybe about 30 years ago, they started singing together. And that's what they do now. But she's back calls on my show on a weekly basis.
I love them. I actually met them through you, and they were on the show a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And they're a lot of fun, and they're very talented.
They're very talented, I mean, I watch them. I go every Saturday night. I try to go there as much as I can.
At Lola's.
Lola's.
They're at Lola's every Saturday night in Summerlin.
And somebody last night they performed last night at the German American Club, and they were pretty good. People really love their style. You know, they're Motown music, but they play all kinds of music. Yeah, I mean, not just Motown. People say, "Hey, what? Do you sing only Motown?" No, they sing everything. They're so talented. They both have great voices.
And they're kind people, and they're a lot of fun. People can see your show on your YouTube channel. Is that correct? The Joe Cortez Show?
Yeah, the YouTube channel. You can go there. They put down the Joe Cortez Show, and you'll see it. It's a lot of fun. I bring people from all walks of life.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like you do here. You bring people on your show, people of interest that can talk about anything. You know, have to talk about how they started their career, whether it's doctors, lawyers, fighters, you know, actors, anybody, singers, anybody of interest I put on the show. I want everybody to know, give everybody an opportunity and so they can climb up the ladder.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
No, it's a great show. And I really enjoyed being on it a couple of times. I don't remember what we talked about. Oh, we talked about Pat and his favorite fighters. He really loved boxing.
He loved boxing. There's a picture with him and Muhammad Ali. And Pat, he was a character. You know, he had his own style. And people, you either loved him or you hate him. You know, I love the guy because I love his style. He had something about him, that charisma about it he had. He reminded me a lot of some of the top comedians that were out there back in the days. I mean, when he was a top comedian in the 50s and 60s, right? And part of the 70s.
Oh, in the 80s.
In the 80s.
He worked until 2013 was when he retired.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So
he was on the road a lot until then.
He was performing for about 6 decades.
Oh yeah, but I'll tell you, he loved fighting. He went to some of the biggest fights here in Vegas. And he got me into MMA later. That's what he was into. Yeah.
Is that right?
Every Saturday night, we'd if he missed it, he'd have me pull it up who won the next morning on the computer.
Right.
But he loved that.
I used to see so many celebrities at the fights. I mean, Wayne Newton, one of the big fight fans, he come there all the time to the fights. And I used to hang out a lot with Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson, security coming at me, Joe. Jack Nicholson waiting for you. He'd been waiting for you. And every fight, he came to a big fight. I had to sit with him for a couple hours until I got in the ring to do my main event. But yeah, so many celebrities come to the fight. Bruce Willis was another nice guy. I used to like Bruce Willis.
Pat saw him in a fight. He told me one time.
Yeah, all the time. He was there. He would all come to the fights all the time. And always talk to me. Really, really loving guy.
Yeah, Pat roasted him actually at the Friars Club.
Is that right?
I don't remember what year it was,
The
but yeah.
Friars Club.
About 15 years ago.
You mentioned that. The Friars Club, one of my favorite places in New York, on 55th Street, between Park and Madison Avenue. 55th Street.
Yeah, a lot of great memories there.
Yeah, right. The owner of the El Salvador Hotel I used to work for, because I was a casino operations manager for the El Salvador, and the Conquistador and the Palace Hotel. I had 3 casinos, and the casino manager would report to me, my New York office. And my New York office was right on 55th Street in Madison. It was 510 Madison, and right across the street, a block, it was the Friars Club. So, of course, the owner of the hotel said, Joe, come on, we're going to go for lunch. We had lunch a lot of the Friars Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the most favorite places. They closed down last year. Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
They're
selling the building.
Yeah, they were there since the early 1930s, I believe.
I think it was earlier than that, honestly. Yeah. No, it's sad, but there is a group of the Friars who still get together there. They got together the other night at Patsy's and had a little reunion on 56th Street. So
56th Street.
Yeah. And they have a Facebook page where they all talk and post pictures from the old days.
Yeah, well, Lou Piro was the owner of the El Salvador Hotel, and Lou Piro was a favorite at the Friars Club. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, those were great memories. Out of your career, which is pretty extensive, what were some of your favorite moments?
Well, when I was in the field of ophthalmology, I started working in the management of it, medical practice, and it was an ophthalmologist by the name of forgot the name. Anyway, he was in New Jersey, and he wanted me to. The doctor wanted me to back in the 1980s. And he wanted me to manage the practice for him because he had some experience in hotel management. And I started working at the doctor's office. And I said, how about if I start a screening program? We don't do a free screening program. Go out to the underserved community and do screening. I take 2 of your optometric technicians with me. I said, I could do that. I started doing that. Before you know it was just, I was representing 10 different doctors doing the screening program doing my own vision screening program. It was just great to do. And then I started doing it in Chicago. And they gave me the key to the city of Cicero, Illinois, and the key to the city of Patterson, New Jersey, for my service of saving people from going blind.
Wow.
That's one of the things I really enjoyed doing. Another thing I
nice.
enjoyed doing was they made me a deputy constable here in Las Vegas. I was a deputy constable in North Las Vegas. And that was like, you do garnishing wages, evictions, and small claims. Those are the duties of a constable. And I
Wow.
did that here in Las Vegas for about 4 years. Then they wanted residency in North Las Vegas. I was going to move to North Las Vegas. I just bought a house here in Section 10, which is a nice, beautiful area. And I said, no, I'm not going to move to North Las Vegas, so I resigned from that. But it was that Lou Tabby, who was a boxing judge. He was a constable. And he said, hey, Joe, I can use you as a deputy. And say, I know I'm walking around with a uniform like Metro Police, with my gun and my handcuff, everything. But I didn't do that for about 4 or 5 years.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, it was great, yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a few minutes to wrap up.
Hey Vegas! Celebrate every day in style at the Composer's Room. From live music to comedy shows, we've got entertainment that'll give you that Las Vegas vibe. Our tavern serves the best drinks in Vegas. Whether you're a cocktail connoisseur or a beer buff, our bartenders got you covered. And let's not forget about the food. Our culinary delights are sure to tantalize your taste buds. Come for the entertainment and stay for the food. Reserve your visit to the Composer's Room today and start celebrating Las Vegas our way.
Looking for a night out that's pure Vegas? Welcome to Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club, voted best comedy club in Las Vegas. Located at the Link Promenade, just steps from the High Roller, it's your ticket to big laughs from top comics handpicked by Jimmy Kimmel himself. No two shows are alike. Every night's a headliner, and every seat's a great one. Get your laughs at the best. Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club, only in Vegas, only at the Link.
Hi, welcome back to Legends and Laughs. We're talking to Joe Cortez, the legendary boxing Hall of Famer. And Joe, I have a question for you. With all the people that you hung out with over the years, you clearly hung out with a lot of interesting celebrities and so forth. Tell us about some of those people, because I know there were some characters that you wasn't.
As in boxing, as a referee, we try to stay away from fraternizing with too many of the boxers, like fighters, promoters, trainers. So I stayed away from those guys. But after I retired, I got a contract with Showtime, and I got a contract with ESPN. I had to interview a lot of the fighters. Then I got to know a lot of fighters one-on-one after I retired from boxing. And I retired in 2012, so that was 12 years. And I've been able to meet a lot of nice fighters like George Foreman, who we became good friends, and he got to talk to my daughter a lot. My daughter's in a car accident. She ended up in a wheelchair. So George Foreman used to talk to her a lot. And then I had Roberto Duran. 2 months ago, I was in Panama giving Roberto Duran, who was one of the greatest fighters of all time, an award for his participation in boxing. He did so many good things in boxing. And I'm Sugar Ray Leonard, another great one, Manny Pacquiao. So many great fighters I've been able to be around. I'm Sugar Ray Leonard, one of the nicest and caring individuals you want to meet. But George Foreman was about the best.
Well, you also hung around a lot of celebrities, and we have one photo, actually, of you with Eva Longoria and J-Lo. Tell us about that picture.
Okay, that's what happened was the other day I was at ringside ready to do my championship fight, and Mark Anthony was there with his wife at the time, with J-Lo and Eva Longoria. And then the security said, Joe, Mark Anthony was to even go back to the green room and just hang out with him a little bit, talk to you. So I went back there, and we started talking. And then he said, we started taking pictures. He said, let's take pictures together. But then that picture that was Eva Longoria that you see there now, and J-Lo, we were sitting on the sofa in the green room, and Mark Anthony is the one that took that photo himself.
Wow.
I remember him telling me, hey, Joe, be careful. That's my wife. I said, don't worry about it. I ain't going to take her,
Yeah, that's cool.
But he's a sweet guy. Mark Anthony, what a great voice. He came from my neighborhood, Spanish Harlem in New York. And people like that, I got to meet George Foreman and Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was another individual who I refereed on 8 different occasions, including his last fight when he fought Kevin McBride in Washington, D.C. That was about 15 years ago. And, just so many individuals that I met throughout my career. My daughter Cindy was an inspiration to me. And even though she ended up in a wheelchair at the quadriplegic, she's always inspired me. I remember when I got hit with COVID in 2020, I was hospitalized for 5 months. And she's always telling me, Daddy, you're going to be okay. And I always say to myself, and my daughter doesn't complain about anything. Why should I complain, you know?
Well, listen, you've got a great story, and that's an amazing story that I'd like to talk to you more about. If you can come back,
Sure.
can you come back and see us another time in the near future?
Another time I'll come back and we'll talk a lot
Okay.
more. I got so many more stories for you fans out there to listen to it. A little bit about Joe Cortez. I'm a fan, but I'm for him. And don't forget, watch my show, The Joe Cortez Show, every Friday on YouTube channel.
Super. Thanks a lot, Joe. Okay, that's it for our show for today, and we will see you all next time with Legends and Laughs with Emily Connor Cooper. Thanks a lot.